There's one thing I want you to do for me.
What?
Come here.
What?
Win. Win.
What are we waiting for? Take it!
What is up, EoP sports fans? It's Wednesday night after 8:30. It's time for EoP. I'm Big Al.
And I'm back.
Right, guys. We have not worked together since before I left.
Yeah,
Spring training. So that's close to a month.
About a month, yeah.
Close to a month. Me and Joe have not been this apart for this long. So if we get a little touchy-feely.
It's been hell, Al.
Yeah, if we get a little touchy-feely, just deal with it for guys. Deal with it. But guys, there has been no lack of Philly sports talk. I'm about 18 pages deep on notes and comments I want to make tonight. So we might be going about 6 hours, guys.
That's all right.
So buckle in, bucko. It's going to be a great time. We want to remind you guys that this show is brought to you by great sponsors over at PhillySportsTrips.com, Dolan's Bar, SherryInjuryLaw.com, as well as Sherry'sTickets.com. We will get into those guys in a moment. But I don't know where to start, but we'll just easily start with
swing it.
Let's start with the Sixers. They are playing right now. They start off there 1.17-0.
Yeah, I walked in. I was like, wait a minute, does that say 17-0?
Joe thought I literally was playing a prank on him.
What the hell's going on here?
He's like, are you serious? I'm like, I'm not making this up. I didn't change the graphic on the screen, I promise. But right now they are up 39-28, so up 11 on them with a couple minutes into the second quarter. Looking for a little revenge after what we would call sloppy, tired-looking game Monday night against the same Chicago Bulls, but home. Because, Joe, here's my thought process on that game. That wasn't really like, all right, they finally got a little time to come home. Mm-hmm. That was like, walk in from work, change your clothes, kiss your wife on the cheeks, and head back out the door type situation. So it was a modified away game. And they still have a lot more road trips ahead of them because there's only a few more home games. And one thing I took notice to today, Joe, I'm writing my notes down. I'm looking at, as we know, in a little segue here, April 6th is the home opener. You're going.
Yes, I am.
I'm going. That game's at what, 3 o'clock, 3 or 5? Guess what time the home Sixers game is that night?
3:07.
7:30. Meaning just enough time to go to Sherry'sTickets.com,
That's right.
Get your tickets, and go to the game. I'm thinking about doing it.
That's
honestly
not a bad idea.
It's going to be one of the last regular season games, I should say, for the Sixers, a home game. Depending on where they're at, they're 48 wins now, so definitely going to try to get to that 50 marker. By then, could be a little load management, but your Sixers right now are playing without James Harden and without Jalen McDaniels. Joe, question to you: are you a little nervous with the James Harden Achilles soreness, or do you feel this is more load management coming off this huge, 8 out of 9 game victories that they just dealt with?
Well, one of the things that bothers me is Harden plays, I want to say up towards, 37, 38 minutes the other night. And then Doc in his post-game presser is like, oh, yeah, it looked like James Harden was injured and playing hurt all game. Well, why the hell did he play all that time then if you thought that he was hurt? Me personally, am I worried about it? I'm not overly worried about it. I think that these little stingers will pop up in some of these, I don't want to say older players.
Older players. 33 years old, you're allowed to say it.
Right. But I'm pushing 40. You are 40. Us to say an old player when he's 7 years younger than us.
When it comes to NBA players, it's older. Let's call it for what it is.
Well, listen.
I mean, I guess that means our time has passed to finally get that contract.
Yeah, but I mean, if he's going to have a little bit of an ailing injury right now, just rest him. You're not going to make the top seed in the East. You're going to be, right on the cusp of, 2 or 3. You probably won't hit that 4 spot. Rest him up now, and he'll be fine for the playoffs. I'm not overly worried. I'll say.
Now, I know Jalen McDaniels isn't a huge piece of the.
Well, he's a viable replacement.
Yeah, but
substitute, I guess you can say.
He missed a few games during that stretch run. with right hip pain, came back, immediately playing with continued some pain, hence him sitting tonight. And I guess it's really a tough time for him to be sitting now when you are down already a James Harden. Now you're down Jalen McDaniels.
Right.
Again, you think it's just load management or something to keep our eye on?
Again, not overly worried. I just think you're at a point in the season where you don't want to risk it. You don't want to risk any of these guys, furthering an injury and furthering missing time, missing the rest of the season. I think you sit them, 2-3 games, rest them up, get them ready for the playoffs, and that's just the formula they're going with right now.
Okay. So over this, we keep talking about the streak. These Sixers have been on fire, and the Sixers in the beginning of the season, you had both Harden missed a month, about 5 to 6 weeks from Tyrese Maxey. Embiid had about a 2-3 week stretch of missed time because of pain and injury. They were also overshadowed by the Phillies making a run early in the season, and of course the Super Bowl run. Both, unfortunately, coming up short. Would it be poetic justice if the team that makes it to the finals would be, and win it all, would be the Sixers?
It would be amazing. I mean, we're talking about the World Series and the Super Bowl. We also had the Union in their MLS championship. So, I mean, we talked about the Philadelphia area losing 3 championships within 100 days. Now, imagine the Sixers get there, and they are the ones to bring us the parade down Broad. I mean, it would be sweet justice because of the way that we were not paying attention to the Sixers in the beginning of the season because of the success of all the other teams.
And speaking of being 40,
justice, you can say.
Speaking of being 40, the Sixers' last championship just turned 40.
That is right.
Me and you're just little tots when they last won a championship.
Right. Well, actually, no, I probably wasn't even here yet.
Yeah, you were born in September, so you weren't here yet. I was just a couple months old at that point. I mean, figuring at that point the championship game was probably in May. I was probably about 4 or 5 months old at that point. Now looking at it, Joe, this is just pure speculation. Now looking at it, watching the Eagles, watching the Phillies, and as you said, and now Ian saying the Union doing so well and just kind of falling short. What's up, Fooch? Nice to see you, buddy.
What's up, fellas?
If you had your druthers, you had your choice, only one. Now, I know you're not picking the Union, so we can just toss that out right now. Going back and look at the 2 that you just missed and just pointing out the fact it's been 40 years since the Sixers won a championship. Mm-hmm. Who would you choose? If you could go back in time and fix something, make sure it happens right, maybe Rob Thompson doesn't pull Wheeler out as early as he did.
That was definitely questionable. I'm still staying with Topper on that.
Go tell the Eagles to go get them to fix the field before the game starts.
Yeah.
Whatever it is you could do, and make sure a championship gets under your belt. Who you choosing?
I'm going with the Phillies.
Okay.
I'm going with the Phillies. It's been, 2008? We're, 15 years since their last championship.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready for another Phillies parade.
Sure.
And I don't want to take away from a Super Bowl or anything like that. I'd like it because it's a series. You have to win a series. You're not going to go out for one game. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at the Eagles back in 2017. They won the Super Bowl, but it was also the largest offensive game in Super Bowl history from both teams.
Sure.
Over 500 yards. They went out. They won one game by the skin of their teeth. A strip sack from Brandon Graham inside of the last 2 minutes of the game. If you're talking about a World Series, you have to win 4 games out of 7.
Sure.
To me, that's a bigger feat.
Yeah. I mean, because now think about if there was a series of some sort for the Super Bowl, they could fix some of the field issues, hopefully. Sure. If the Eagles had a couple chances, gives them a higher chance to win the Super Bowl. Joe, the only reason I would pick the one I'm about to tell you is because of the length of time. And it's the one we just talked about is your 76ers. We've seen a Super Bowl. We've seen a Phillies championship. And also it's that window of opportunity. I think the Eagles are set moving forward to make a run and be a playoff contender, a Super Bowl contender. I think the Phillies have set themselves up nicely to do the same. And the Sixers, I don't feel the same way about that. I feel like they have this year, maybe next year, and after that, you got an even older Harden, an even older PJ Tucker.
That's if he's still here.
If he's still here, yeah. Even older PJ Tucker. And Embiid, is he going to want to still be here if they go another second round, out or something? Is he just going to get tired of the stuff here in Philly? Tobias, he'll be out. You're going to replace him.
But think of how much, think of what you can do with that money from Tobias Harris.
Sure.
38, 39 million, whatever it is. We're talking about the Sixers bench depth that they have none of.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they can replace that entire bench with $38, $39 million. And then, listen, and they're still going to put together another starter in there that's, pretty high caliber and is going to be making some good money dipped into that 38, 39 million.
All right. You made a good point there. I mean, this wasn't a question I had written down on my page, but I'm going to ask anyway since you kind of brought it up. So say Harden does leave.
Mm-hmm.
So you open up, 30+ million there. So you're going to have close to $70 million in cap space.
Yep.
Does that entice you to want Harden to leave? And if Tobias is gone?
That's a great question. Because here's the thing. I think with the process and everything that has gone on with this organization, we're always looking for that next guy to come into the organization and, kind of just be the new sexy piece, the new guy who we're expecting to really put us over this hump. If Harden's out and Tobias is out, Philadelphia is still a destination that guys want to come to. So, you're coming in, the guy's looking at Philadelphia, and Embiid's still here, D'Anthony Melton, Maxey, who's an up-and-coming guy. This is a destination. It doesn't matter. We talk about the Phillies and the Eagles being a destination for guys to come to. The Sixers are as well. Mm-hmm. Even without Tobias Harris, even without James Harden, people still want to come to Philadelphia and play with a Tyrese Maxey and, of course, a Joel Embiid. And look, everybody loves this fan base. As long as you're winning and you're not on our bad side, everybody, even when they leave, they say Philadelphia is the best place to play.
You're a god. Sport. You're a god. You're literally a god if you win. And you're not a D-bagger either.
Right.
I agree with you. I think if they don't win this year, I may lean towards wanting him to go. Again, he's older. If there's any inkling inside his heart he don't want to be here, I don't want him here.
Sure.
And it's not me being a fan. It's me being like, this guy, if he's not going to commit 110% for $30+ million, then I don't want him to commit to the Sixers.
I know that there's a lot of speculation out there saying that he wants to go back to Houston because of their strip clubs for whatever reason.
The high-end Houston strip club.
Yeah, exactly. But I do think you have to take credit in him taking less money this year to bring other guys on to try and get that championship. I think that does speak to his credibility, and I don't believe all the hype saying that he just wants out of Philadelphia to go back to Houston for whatever reason. I think that he does want to be here and play with Embiid and play in front of our fan base. He's still making $34, $35 million.
Yeah.
He left money on the table for Daryl Morey to sign other people's, i.e. PJ Tucker. So I do think that he's going to be back next season. He's going to get paid a lot more money because he has that opt-out. It'll probably be back into the $40 million range plus. But they also...
If he opts out, do you want him out?
No, because these guys are going to get their money one way or another. So if it's him leaving here to get his money, then I'd rather than just give him the money and him stay here.
Okay.
There was something else I was going to say to that. Go
ahead. If he doesn't want to be here to win, that's why I a little disagree. Like, if he's here for a paycheck and his $40 million is going to hold you back.
Oh, and Tobias will be gone, so they'll have the money. They'll have
about $35 million, give or take. But what is $35 million? Like, you're going to sign one other big superstar?
I think you can.
You still have Melton, who I really like.
I really like him too.
Daniel House Jr. Daniel. Yeah, say it right. Daniel House Jr.
I'll never say his name like that ever.
I got to give the guy credit. He has taken his role, even though it's lesser than what he's used to, and he started the last couple of games, and he didn't look like he hasn't started all year because he really hasn't.
Right.
Melton, like I said, I was really high when they made that trade because I was so really high on the trade. I wasn't high.
Of course. What the hell are you going to do with a number?
I was so afraid they were like, well, we get ourselves another Tyrese Maxey.
Right. Overthinking it. Just get the proven player if you can.
Yeah, but real quick, I want to remind you guys that this show is brought to you by Sherry'sTickets.com. Go to Sherry's Tickets down. Me and Joe, we get our tickets there, not just because they're a sponsor, 100%. Because they got the best price, and we get additional 10% off using that promo code 100%. EoP10. Great prices, no hidden fees. How many times Joe has called me and said, yo, I have got these tickets, and then I want to buy them, and they charge me an extra $200. I couldn't afford them. I don't want to pay for that. I couldn't afford that. We can price them out. But Joe goes, I found Sherry's Ticket Town, and there we go. Sherry'sTickets.com. EoP10, use that promo code. Tell them EoP sent you. So let's talk about, before we move on, let's just talk about Mr. Joel Embiid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he is, I think at this point, and I think Vegas has him this way at this point, as the front runner for MVP.
He should be.
I know Joker.
Do you care about it, though? Honestly?
Do I?
Yeah.
No. But do I care about what I do like about it is the normal Joel Embiid would be squawking right now.
Sure.
Hey, Daniel Berry. But he hasn't said a peep about it.
Mm-hmm.
People have said about it. Guys he's playing against right now. Drummond was out saying it. The coach of the Bulls has said something about it. Like he should be an MVP. The fact that he's not squawking about it, but he's playing at that caliber shows me growth.
Sure. Mentally,
Physically, as a player, as a human. So that's what I like about it. But yeah, I mean, without a doubt, by the numbers, let's just look at
30, man. He just turned 29. I can't believe it.
Yeah, I feel like we've known him since he's a baby. On the season, he's averaging 33.6 points a game, which is the highest in the NBA. 10.3 rebounds and 4.1 assists. That's another 58 games.
Last year he was the scoring champ and he was an MVP. So I know what he's averaging obviously doesn't matter.
True. Now, in the last 5 games, he's averaged 34 minutes. Now, a little higher because of that game last night or Monday night. Yeah. They played 44 minutes. But he's averaging 35.2 points a game. That's 3.4 blocks a game.
That's awesome.
I mean, he is playing at a level. He looks healthy. The only thing you hope is that he's just not, no injuries. You cross your fingers.
That's one of the kickers of everything. Like Jokic, he was the past, 2-time MVP, possibly going for the third. Depends on what Embiid does. But he doesn't play defense. He's not a great overall player. Embiid is a game changer on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's the lead scorer in the league, but he's also, like you just said, bringing up the blocks and what he's averaging per game. He is a monster on defense as well. He's the best player in the league as an overall player. Like, he's not only this offensive machine, he's a defensive machine as well. And that gets overlooked a lot, I believe. His defense is just as much a part of the game as his offense. He's got to be given credit for that as well.
I mean, he got in foul trouble a little early in the game. Of course, double overtime doesn't help. And he was down to his last foul for the last 2 overtimes until the last 2 minutes of overtime numero 2. And he was still playing like he had 3 or 4 fouls to give.
Yeah.
And, the one he got called was a little ticky-tack, but it is what it is. And it's ultimately what Chicago needed to put the Sixers away. So, that tells you something. I mean, Chicago in this, let me see, I'll tell you right now, I think they are standings. They are number 10. So they're fighting for that play-in position right now. So all these wins count for something. And last night, while the Sixers were off, they actually clinched their playoff spot because the Nets lost to the Cavs. So we made the playoff spot. We're sitting at number 3, still a game behind the Celtics, and 3 games out on the Bucks.
Yeah, you remember when people thought that the Nets won that Ben Simmons James Harden trade? You remember people were saying that the Nets won that trade, and now look at everything that's going on.
Was there anybody around here who had more a national thing?
Definitely more a national thing. We're not going to sit here and say, but all the hubbub when that trade went down was, thank God Ben Simmons is out here. We all rejoiced and said, thank God James Harden's coming here, but it didn't matter who it was for. The trade could have been for a Danielle House or whatever the hell. It didn't matter the caliber of the player.
No.
Ben Simmons was gone. That's all that mattered.
Yeah.
It's just luckily it was for James Harden.
Yeah, I mean, I think people felt they overpaid. But people had to understand you had Ben Simmons, who wasn't a proven commodity, who was obviously a locker room issue.
I still can't believe he was a 3-time All-Star here.
you know what, Joe? That makes you sick about him a little bit. I can't believe we're talking about him again. But, in a sense, that's what makes you really, I think, makes people angry and sad and sick about him. Is he has the talent to be, they were saying, oh, he's going to be the next Magic Johnson. Well, we could pump the brakes on that one a little bit. But he has the talent to get close to it and maybe reach it. It's just unwilling to play. He doesn't have a heart to play basketball.
Right.
He plays basketball because it comes so easy to him, which makes me sick as a human being. I would murder for a tenth of the talent that he has because I could play in the NBA.
Dude, he still has his contract. I think he still has 2 more years on his contract. There's no way the Nets are going to want to carry that into next season. They're going to have to trade him again. And, I mean, he's still making $28 million or so.
Yeah.
It could be more than that for all I know. I don't know. Ballpark number I'm throwing out there. He's still making close to $30 million for not doing squat.
And look at what took the Sixers a little while. Listen, you get a first-round pick. You're really going to try your best to make it happen. A first overall pick, I should say. But the Nets scattered like cockroaches when somebody turns the lights on.
I know.
We took Harden. They had Steph and everybody, and then they took Drummond with them too. And then it didn't take much longer for.
We're watching Drummond on the Bulls right now.
Yeah, right. And it didn't take long for the other stars to say, we're out of here. Kyrie's
I wonder how much of that had to do with Ben Simmons and just not wanting to play there with him.
I don't know if it's all about Ben. I think there's a lot of dysfunction. I think there's a lot of dysfunction in the Nets organization alone. I mean, they had to get a new coach and everything, and it just didn't seem like they were going anywhere. And then James leaves, and he's, obviously excelling here with the Sixers with an ability to possibly win. And then you look at it like, I want to go to somewhere where I can win. And, those guys are all getting older. Kyrie, of course, had to have his breakout game against the Sixers. But the Sixers still were in that game the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
You had 2 guys scoring almost 40 points apiece.
Aren't that good.
I mean,
and I don't know how they're not that good with Luka and Kyrie there, but I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, KD goes to Phoenix, gets hurt. Kyrie's out of there. It's a wonder why the hell the Nets didn't just trade Kyrie last year when he didn't play in half of the games because he couldn't play in New York.
Probably was untradeable. Because nobody wanted to trade for somebody who couldn't play.
Well, no, he could play everywhere else, but not New York.
True.
He was able to play on the road. He couldn't play at home. So why wouldn't they just traded him why wouldn't they have traded him last season, other than possibly the fact that the compensation wouldn't have been as high because people knew that the Nets were in a tough spot.
Because he was a different type of knucklehead too, I think. All his issue.
And to James Harden's credit, what we're seeing here now in Philadelphia from him is a totally different player from, say, 5 years ago.
You mean the assist king of the NBA?
Absolutely transformed his game on the court and has become a different player. And again, you have to credit him on that too.
And I think we kind of touched on this the last time we were together, and this is over a month ago, is that these guys are finally carving out these holes for themselves in this team, and they're accepting of it, and they're okay with it. And a facilitator in James Harden, letting Joel Embiid score, Maxey, either starting or coming off the bench. Obviously, starting has worked out better for him.
Harden is
Tobias being a catch and shoot. Yeah. Maxey being, not Maxey, Tobias Harris being a catch and shoot type player now. So yeah, that's the key thing here. Darth Pooh 79 is saying no one questions his ability on both sides. It's his ability to keep longevity. Yes,
sure.
Darth, 100%.
People question it. Let's not be silly.
You have to question it because it hasn't happened yet. But as of right now, you're not seeing him hobble. He's not taking plays off when he could have. And he's just playing better. And his like you said, Joe, his defense has always been good. But I mean, he just had another block shot moments ago. And and when you want a good defense, you go to Joel Embiid or David Archeri. Go to cherryinjurylaw.com or go to call him at 610-565-0300. He will defend you if you get injured at work, in a motor vehicle accident, other personal injury, or even criminal law. David Archeri is the man. And like I said, that website again is cherryinjurylaw.com or 610-565-0300. So, and let's see, Fuji has something here. Ben Simmons, a.k.a. Tin Man Matt Geiger, Part 2. I mean,
Geiger is better.
Here's my thing.
Let's split hairs here. Geiger is better than Ben Simmons.
I really can't find a good comparison
Ben Simmons.
And my reasoning behind that is
a bag of trash.
Well, I mean, as another player, another career.
Sure.
Because you tell me,
Kwame Brown.
You tell me a
Sean
guy
Bradley.
who had the talent. Like, let's be honest, his talent is
Andrew Bynum.
Natural talent is head and shoulders above a lot of guys in the NBA. But had this.
He's not hungry.
But it's not even just hungry. Like, I don't think he likes basketball. It's like somebody like, I don't like my job, but it pays me well, so I just deal with it.
Yeah.
It's a little different with a basketball versus corporate America or something. Like, it's really hard for me to get a really great comparison. There's been guys who have been playing well who didn't live up to what they were propped up to be. He could have with no problem. He just chose not to.
Right.
That's a different story to me. Matt Geiger and all that stuff.
This stems back to college at LSU. Obviously, he only went to LSU for the 1 year, so he got into the NBA. But I think they didn't make the NCAA March Madness tournament, but they had an invitation to the NIT, I believe, and he was like, no. And he quit on his team. He's like, I don't want to go play in that. So he did it. And then you look at his career in the NBA, and he like you said, it doesn't look like he wants to play basketball.
No.
I'm sorry. When it comes to the Olympics and Team Australia, he backed out twice on playing for his home country.
Yeah.
Again, like he doesn't want to play.
If it's not gonna satisfy a need for him, just like he didn't think he had to work on his game or add a shot to his game, he just doesn't. If it doesn't satisfy his need or
how do you expect to have a career, a long career in the NBA and refuse to shoot the ball? I don't. Let's move on. I don't want to talk about him anymore.
Speaking of moving on, Joe, I'll let you choose. You want to go Phillies talk or Eagles talk?
I want to go Eagles talk.
All right, let's do a little Eagles talk then. We were on the last time we were on there together. There was a little thing, or last time I was on there, I guess I should say, we weren't together. There was a little thing called NFL free agency started, and a lot of things came down. And I have my multicolored. I'm very organized to a point. A lot of new changes, and I want to run. And I think I did this with the other guys, but I want to do this with you real quick. I want to run through some of the losses real quick, make it real fast, and I just want you to get your feel on those losses. T.J. Edwards.
I really like T.J. Edwards. I thought he was a great find as an undrafted free agent by Hallie, and that's what Hallie does. He finds these guys in the draft. I remember Ryan Bates. He was a Penn State offensive lineman. He got brought on to the Eagles as an undrafted free agent. Hallie then traded him away to the Bills, where he just got an extension because he's playing really well. Hallie has an eye for these things. It does not surprise me at all that T.J. Edwards came in here for 4 years and now is getting paid pretty well, at least more than what the Eagles wanted to give him with the Bears. Now, not to jump ahead of you, I'm going to bring up Nicholas Morrow, who is from the Bears. All we did was trade linebackers.
We trade linebackers, yeah. We got a cheaper deal.
Yeah.
Morrow was a good story. Was it?
Raiders and then Bears.
Yeah, but even where he came from, I mean, he was an undrafted. Was he undrafted? I
believe he was too.
Yeah, I know. He came from a smaller school. Probably had no real NFL aspirations.
Yeah, he's a football. Yeah.
So, and
started all 17 games last year for the Bears.
I know the 1 year deal. Did you see the numbers?
I didn't yet.
So they haven't released the contract number. Okay. So I'm going to guess it's kind of maybe a little above the league minimum.
Yeah, it's not much.
But so you're able to save money on him, and you might hopefully, we don't know, get a T.J. Edward type clone, maybe even better. God only knows. So you'd be kind of surprised. I mean, I just think the Bears were a little in spend mode because they had the money.
They had $100 million in cap space. Like they really went out and spent right away.
Yep.
T.J. Edwards is not the only linebacker that they signed.
I feel like I gave my wife my credit card and she went to town. Andre Dillard, he signed a 3 year, $29 million with Titans. I think that's a win for both sides.
It's definitely a win for both because, number one, he was just a backup here. You're going to get the comp pick for him, which is estimated to be a fifth rounder. Whatever.
I think it's a triple win if you think about it. I mean, Dillard didn't play much. He got himself $29 million.
It's a lot.
3 years.
Who is unproven.
But also not a lot for a left tackle in the NFL.
True.
So Titans won. They're taking a little bit of a risk.
Definitely a risk.
But if he plays well, he's worth the money.
All they have to do is not ask him to play another position. Just start him at left tackle.
Keep him away from the microphone.
Hopefully it works out for him. Yeah.
Javon Hargrave, we knew he was going to get overpaid.
Yeah, $21 million. There's no way the Eagles were going to even come close to that.
Yeah, no, and he knew that going into the season.
He won his championship. He went out and he got the payday.
Yep. So,
you think that signing with the 49ers is a little bit of the 49ers being like, hey, we're coming in and we're taking one of your top guys?
A little bit, but I think it's more premier defensive tackle.
Sure.
And he's probably the best defensive tackle on the market this free agency. So,
of course.
And they were well known. And here's the other thing is their defense also lost a good chunk of people, as well as a key factor, their defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
So they're kind of in the same boat as us. So they had the money to spend. They brought in a veteran, proven guy. Makes sense. Marcus Epps.
I was surprised by that one.
How much he got paid, or that he moved on?
Both.
Okay.
Both. I don't even think he got paid that much. I want to say $2.5-3 million or so. Like I think it was $9 million for 3 seasons. Like I don't think it was money. It definitely wasn't money that's going to break the bank for the Eagles. Like last year we heard how much Howie and the top brass of the Eagles really liked Marcus Epps and really thought that he could step up into a leading role in our starting defense.
Mm-hmm.
So hearing that he left for such a little money really surprised me that he's not back, especially because the only guy you had at that position under contract is Reed Blankenship, who was an undrafted free agent.
Yeah, and I think they knew they were going to be making moves, and they kind of like what they probably saw from Reed, and figured they could fill in the gaps.
Well, so did I. I mean, he played extremely serviceable, in my opinion, when CJ was out with the lacerated kidney last year.
Your next one, Miles Sanders. With my thoughts on that one is, congratulations, but you're getting paid more than all our running backs at one time.
Double. The Eagles' running backs is $4 million.
I have. Let's see. Hold on 1 second. So Miles is getting 6.25.
Right.
Rashad could get up to 2.1 with all his add-on benefits. Scott got $2 million.
Yeah, but you're talking incentives, like just salary. Rashida is 1.3. Boston Scott's 2.
Yeah.
And Kenny Gainwell's 1. You're looking at 4.
Gainwell's 940.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're looking at like 4,100.
They can draft. They can still draft another running back.
Oh yeah.
And not.
Oh yeah.
And still not pay more than he's going to pay. So congratulations.
Yeah.
He got paid. Somebody who worked with him that helped him out.
Juice is there now, right?
But we weren't paying him that.
Nah, no way.
No. Kazir White, 2 years, $11 million with the Cards. Good for him.
Good for him. He's reuniting with Jonathan Gannon. I'm surprised TJ Edwards didn't go there. But I mean, maybe that's just to show that the money wasn't really for him either, except for Chicago, who just had a buttload of cash.
Isaac Seumalo, 3 years, $24 million, going to the Steelers, joining Nate Herbig with the Steelers.
I did not know Herbig went.
Yeah, he was a free agent because I knew
he was a free agent.
I think we talked about that. We did. If you were going to get, because we could have probably got Nate Herbig, but I think he ended up getting about $10 million. So
Jesus.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not surprised.
Maybe
Isaac Seumalo moved on. I really think that I
think once Kelsey said I'm staying,
Kelsey's staying, and we now know that Cam Jurgens was being trained at center and guard last year.
Yeah.
So they knew that this was a possibility.
Yeah, and they knew.
So the fact that they can slide Cam Jurgens in his second year in that right guard position to replace Isaac on a rookie contract, it's a no-brainer.
By the way, all the people say, "Oh, well, there's a big difference size-wise between Seumalo and him." I'm like,
you know who else is undersized? Jason Kelsey.
Not even that. It's not even just that. He's not that much smaller.
No,
he's an inch shorter and about 5 pounds swinging differentially.
Dude, when you got it, you got it. When you can play, when you can ball out, and you can play, different positions, being versatile. That's what the Eagles love most in players. Could be a big reason why they drafted him, not only to be a replacement for Jason Kelsey when it happens, but knowing that he can slide into a different position. I mean, this is what the Eagles do. They study these things. I have full confidence in Cam Jurgens being a right guard, regardless of his size.
Zach Pascal got 2 years, I believe. He's with the Cards too, right?
Yeah, with department.
I don't know what I didn't know. I didn't look at the numbers, to be honest with you.
I don't know what that guy did to get a 2-year contract, but he's got pictures of somebody's wife.
Well, who?
I know, Jonathan Gavin.
Jonathan Gavin. Gardner Minshew. He is.
Is it Colts?
It's the merry-go-round of all ex-Eagles quarterbacks going to the Colts.
I know.
He's got 1 year, $3.5 million. Gets to reunite with Shane Steichen. He's a stopgap quarterback for them at most.
Yeah, again, not a lot of money. I kind of thought for that amount, I'm a little surprised the Eagles didn't want him back. But I think when you look at who they got in their backup now, which I'm sure we'll go over the additions as well. I'm not surprised that they let him go out test. He got his money. He's with the Colts. He's with Shane. I mean, again, it's Gardner Minshew. I liked him. He played well for us, but hey, he's not here anymore, and that's okay. One
other guy, probably the biggest conversation with the lost column. Probably the two biggest guys I say really I feel moves the needle is Hargrave and CJ.
Sure.
And now, Joe, you put a poll out there, and you asked people about 24 hours ago that are you upset losing CJ? And you either answer already moved on, or you're upset that Howie didn't do a better job of securing him. And it seemed like now maybe this is just I'm sad, like this first round of the breakup. 85% of people already moved on. They said,
yeah.
And here's my thing: is I think I moved on. It's not because I'm mad at him. You took $6.5 million, upwards of $8 million from the Detroit Lions.
Right.
To me, and if what they said was true, they offered him a 3-year, $24 million with $17 million guarantee. Why? Why would you not stay here? You're paying. I
think he felt disrespect.
Well, you know what, man? You played not even a full season at safety,
right?
And you wanted safety money.
He thought he was going to get Jesse Bates money. Nobody got Jesse Bates money except for Jesse Bates.
And maybe that's kind of what screwed us a little bit.
Yeah,
with the kind of money he got. But also, Jesse Bates played that's his natural position. So you were injured. Now, listen, his injury was a freak injury.
Absolutely. Can't hold that against him.
That's something you can't hold against him. And he was still able to hold the interception record for the year. Tied the interception record for the year. But the constant twittering, going back and forth, taking things down, putting things up, got annoying and fast. Well, that's one thing. I can deal with that if he's playing at a high level. But I think him and his agent are going to ultimately bite themselves in the ass, because I think you're just asking for a little, you're injured or something with that rate. Like, you're done.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, Detroit's up and coming. Their division changed a lot. Maybe. I don't know. We'll find out.
His introductory press conference, he said that he believes that the Lions have a better roster than the Eagles.
Come on, man.
What a bunch of malarkey.
Come on, man. Listen, I get it. You want to move on. You felt like this organization did not value you enough, and you wanted to move on. I don't blame a person for that.
Yeah.
Not at all. But don't sit there and lie. Come on, man.
Listen,
Jared Goff.
I know. I was possibly the number one cheerleader out there for CJ to come back. Number one priority. I said all off season, or all during the season into the off season. I said that is their number one priority. 24, 25 years old, safety, position of need. The proof is on the field. We know what he did. But when it came to it, and the longevity of the will he, won't he, and like you said, the tweets and then deleting it. Of course, everybody got screenshots out there of it all. Once you put something up, it's out there. His agency coming out after he signed saying, oh, it's BS that the Eagles, it was a fake contract, a fake 3-year contract that they tried to give. He did this to himself. He should.
How do you fake a contract?
Exactly. He should fire his agency, because that is not professional at all. I don't care
mic
if
drop.
That is over the mic drop. I don't care if that was the deal and you got felt disrespected. You do not go out there and put an organization on blast like that, because he has a 1-year deal with the Lions.
Yeah.
Why would anybody want to go and deal with this agency next season when he's trying to get another contract?
You kind of burn yourself dealing with the Eagles.
Absolutely.
You got to be careful. And I don't know if he is his own company or if I don't know his agency well enough.
CJ, he's saying cap. It's a lie from a Jeff McClain report, trying to kind of break down what happened with the negotiation between the Eagles and CJ. I mean, it's unbelievable. But then he goes out and he tweets and deletes about how the Eagles, quote unquote, the Eagles fans, quote unquote, switched up on him. How it was all love until he signed somewhere else, and now everybody's calling him overrated and all. Like, listen, like that is just how fan bases work. You're not with us, so you're against us. I understand it. I don't really feel like that. I don't think he was overrated. I wanted him to be an Eagle. But when you do this to yourself, that's why social media, players should not be allowed to be on social media.
It's also his personality. He's just got this personality where
he feels like he's entitled.
Well, it's not just that. He needs to create these things where he's not to blame. When he's been to blame this entire time, it's him and his
right. And
agent.
I shouldn't say players shouldn't be on social media. If you can be mature about it and not, shoot your own self in the foot with your dumbass tweets, that's going to, take the quote-unquote bag away from you. I mean, the Eagles offered you big money. I'm sure we heard that the Broncos were in the running. We heard that the Bengals were in the running. And then you see what this guy is tweeting out there, and it's like, who wants to put up with this headache? Again, a one-year deal with the Lions. Who's going to want to put up with this next offseason with his ass? I mean, I moved on before he signed with the Lions because I was over it. I was just overthinking about it. I was over the drama of it. I didn't care at that point. Yep. Justin Evans is here. All right, Justin Evans. Prove to me that, what's funny is Malcolm Jenkins, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and we have a third safety from the Giants, and it's almost like the linebacker
swap.
Yeah, swap. GJ's gone, so we took another one of the Saints safeties.
All right, so let's look real quick at the guys sticking around. So let me ask you a question real quick. With the guys we talked about losing, outside of Hargrave and CJ, I mean, it's not like we're irreplaceable.
Of course not.
So everybody was always worried about we had all these guys to replace, but now let's look at this. They re-signed Boston for 1 year, $2 million, which I'm not even surprised was that much, to be honest with you.
Basically, what they're doing is paying him $1 million per Giants win.
Giants game, yeah. They surprisingly and shockingly signed James Bradbury to a 3 year, $38 million, $20 million guaranteed contract.
And let me bring that up. That everybody's like, I can't believe they can't get CJ. Like, they offered him a 3 year contract, and he declined it because he thought that the market was going to be much more for him. So the Eagles pivoted, and they signed James Bradbury. Howie went out. He gave him what he thought was a fair offer. He declined. Howie moved on. It's exactly what should have happened. Sure. You're not going to sit there and wait on one player when you have a whole roster to worry about.
Howie, when he admitted to his faults.
Yeah.
When he admitted to his faults, by the way, the Sixers are up 28 points at half over Chicago. When he admitted his faults, he said he got too emotionally attached to guys.
Yes.
Now it's funny you see him doing shots with Jason Kelce and all that stuff. But you know what?
I would do shots with Jason Kelce.
Yeah, but I'm saying I get that one a little bit. He's been with him, 13 years, whatever it is.
13 season.
He didn't get emotional. He said, if this is going to be difficult, I'm just going to start signing guys now, and maybe I'll get you too.
Yeah.
Maybe I won't. Maybe you get enticed by keeping the guys around, and then maybe you'll stick around, or maybe you'll just go somewhere else. Either way, I win.
Right. Yeah.
James Bradbury, I think everybody was a little shocked by that. Brandon Graham, 1 year, $6 million. Joe, you were not expecting that at all. I thought you were shocked about that. You were saying 10, right?
Yeah.
10. $6 million. That to me is Brandon. I want to run it back one more time. The money's great, but this is more for
absolutely.
This.
But ultimately, I saw BG coming back because he was Howie Roseman's first draft pick ever.
Sure.
He's not going to let him go, especially when he's only going to play for another season or two. Mm-hmm. He's not letting Brandon Graham get away. I thought it was going to be more than 6. I love him even more for taking the hometown discount.
$14.25 million.
Shocked.
Making him still the highest paid.
I was really
center.
shocked that.
You were surprised it was going to be that much money?
I thought he was going to take less money as well. I thought that would have been anywhere between 10 and 11. I was shocked that he got $14 million again.
Fletcher Cox, 1 year, $10 million.
I disagree with this one. I get it. I love Fletcher Cox. I think that he has lost a step. But then again, if I'm going with the same narrative of this guy is only going to play for another season or two, he he out of all the 70 sacks we had last year, I think he only had 8 of them, I believe. He was the low man on the totem pole when it came to the other 4 who were in double digits. But ultimately, he's a big presence on that defensive line. He's going to get double covered. It's only going to help Jordan Davis, Milton Williams, and whoever else they get. So no matter what, even though he only had 8 sacks, he's still a big presence that helps
clogs
his
up
team
a hole.
Absolutely.
$10 million for that position is cheap.
It is. He took a hometown discount.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He could have got
but
2 years.
I don't think I would have resigned him.
I don't know about not resigning him. If you're putting him in that, I don't know, that filler role like we've seen with guys they did in 2017, for $10 million, it's actually not bad.
And not to come back to CJ again, but everyone's saying, "Oh, well, why wouldn't you use some of that $10 million, for CJ instead of Fletcher Cox?" The Eagles at this moment, without even restructuring Lane Johnson's contract yet, they still have $14 million to spend. Check it. It's on Spot Track. It's on Over the Cap. They have $14 million. In fact, Spot Track says $15 million. Over the Cap says $14 million. They still have plenty of money. So that signing has nothing to do with CJ Gardner-Johnson. Fletcher Cox, I would have let move on.
So, and the one other big one that we kind of thought was, gone, Darius Slay.
Yeah.
I brought that up to you.
He announced his own releasing.
Yeah.
And then they never released him.
Yeah, him and his wife. I brought that up to you before. I said I wouldn't be surprised if Darius Slay was gone because of his age and his cost.
Didn't say it.
To keep CJ, GJ, or Bradbury, or both.
Yeah.
But they were able to restructure, but for $42 million, 3 years, but only 23 of it's guaranteed. I mean, how do you feel about that?
Well, I posted on our Facebook earlier the breakdown of his contract, and it looks pretty good. I mean, on paper, I think this year is for 11. Yeah, there you go. This year is 11. Next year is 10, 14. And of course, the 2026 is $27 million. He ain't going to reach that, though. He's not going to reach an Eagle as 2026 at that cap. I mean, I think 11, 10, and 14. I'd be surprised if he plays under that 14 number right there.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that looks like really good. It looks Howie, being a cap wizard, he moves these numbers around. It opened up, I think, like $20 million or so in the cap. And this guy,
he was able to do that, and he's still the 11th highest paid CG out of 271. That's pretty amazing.
Can people just stop saying that the Eagles don't have money to do anything? Them having $14 million right now is more than they went into the offseason with. I mean, and they just signed all these other players.
Sure.
I mean, there's absolutely nothing Howie Roseman cannot do with the salary cap. So I just, for one offseason, if people just stop talking about the money.
I don't know why people worry about the money. It's like, it's like your rich uncle keep spending that money. Who cares?
Right.
You got your money, relax. I mean, if he starts doing something where, it affects the team, where he's putting out some big contracts for a couple guys, and then you can't fill, then you got a huge drop off in talent. I mean, his secret, listen,
he's still going to sign a big name, I guarantee you.
I don't think his secret sauce is a hidden recipe. He's been showing it since 2017. Mm-hmm. He got away from it 2018, 2019, learned some mistakes 2020, 2021.
Go back to that figure real quick. I want to show you something that I didn't even notice until after I posted it. You see 27, 28, 29, they're all ghost years.
Yeah.
And of course there's a debt and cap savings on it, but he extended it to 2029. Nobody was doing that until Howie Roseman was putting ghost years and void years on contracts.
Sure.
There is nothing this guy can't do with the salary cap.
No, like I said, and that's why I don't worry about the number with him, especially even when I had my not happy with Howie time frame, which well deserved at that point.
Yeah.
But one thing I never really questioned him was on contracts and spending. I mean, the ghost years with some of the guys, he learned to spread them out a little bit more. He had a couple, I would say, he was a little squirrely with that, but he figured that out. But I mean, listen, here's the secret sauce. You get the young guys lined up, locked up at a younger age. You don't keep too many guys well over their 30s or past their prime outside of these one-year deals. Signing out the right one-year deals, prove-it deals to get these guys in here, test them out. Look at CJ GJ. They got him for 1 year. He was cost them next to nothing for it.
You're still in a rookie contract. I mean, it was a trade. It cost him a fifth and a seventh round pick. I mean, it was nothing for the performance he got.
So, real quick, let's look at who they brought on. Of course, one guy I really like, and I just health, of course, is an issue. Is Rashad Penny, man. I really, when he's playing, he's one of the best running backs in the league. I think that's forgotten about. It's just that's a big if. Now, during his presser today, he said, he kind of said something. I don't know if you want to read between the lines too much, but he said it was nice to a change of scenery, and I think like what he was trying to say is like, when you're in an organization, like if you work for a company, like they probably like a pool on the next time he's going to get hurt again, and it's kind of hard to get over that moniker.
Sure.
And I think that just having a fresh start with a team who's, I wonder if I was right, Joe. Remember I said to you how the health going into, from the preseason to the regular season was a big problem when Doug was here.
Sure.
But since they made some moves that everybody's been super happy with, this team has stayed fairly healthy the whole way through. I wonder if he looks at that. If this team has been healthy for the last few years, maybe they'll be a good place for him. Maybe they're just not taking care of him over there or in Seattle. But, if you can get him to play 75% this year but be healthy at the great times for that price, he literally could be the best running back in the league.
Yeah, and I think him being here gives him a really good opportunity because of how this organization, Nick Sirianni, or whoever's going to be calling the plays, I don't think it's been really established yet if Nick's going to take on more of a role. I know he's saying he's not going to, but who knows? I think because they use Boston and they use Gainwell and they're going to use Penny, I think because he's not going to be the bell cow, he's not going to be out there for, 70, 75% of the snaps. I think that helps him in the long run, obviously. Of course, I sure hope you can't get injured from the sideline. So, I mean, there's going to be times where he's going to come in, be in the backfield for a play or two, and then, of course, he's going to get rotated out. So, as long as he can stay upright and, we know that Kenny Gainwell is going to get used a lot this coming season. It's going to be a 1-2 punch.
The playoffs, they had a lot of trust in him.
Right. It's going to be a 1-2 punch with this guy. And I guess you can say a three-head monster if you want to go to that extreme. But Rashad Penny, I think he has a really good opportunity to be the player that everybody thought that he was going to be coming out of college and being with Seattle Seahawks. I remember it was the draft when we were in your basement.
Yep.
And I remember when he got drafted by there, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, he went to the first round." I think it was like pick 28, 29. It was the back end of the first round. But it's like, why is Seattle picking a running back? Why are they picking Rashad Penny at that? And it's because they valued him. They thought that he was going to step in and be that breakout guy from college. And unfortunately, injuries has plagued that so far. I don't want to say everybody's saying it because everybody is saying health. That's what matters the most. As if you can stay healthy.
Best ability is availability.
Exactly. And especially behind our offensive line. Can you imagine the holes? Like, this guy's got this second level speed that is as soon as
a healthy Rashad Penny on the Eagles offensive line is borderline should be illegal.
He could be the leading rusher in the NFC East. I mean, and
or
that's
the NFL.
I know. And that's why I'm trying not to set my expectations too high. But if he can be, the leading rusher in the NFC East, I mean, I'm happy with that.
Right now, at his best, with the current NFL running backs, he is the best. All that stuff. Like, now, we'll talk about another one shortly who paid a little visit to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I want to go real quick. We have kind of like me sneaking out for a late night snack. Howie snuck out for a late night FU to his ex-employee and Chip Kelly and signed Marcus Mariota.
Yes, he did.
It was like almost midnight when he signed him.
Yeah.
As a backup.
I was in bed.
Yeah.
I was sleeping.
I put it in there and you're like the next morning, like, oh shit.
Yeah, I had no idea.
I was just working on our website and bing, bang, boom. I'm like, shit, I better do something about that.
Yeah.
I thought it was a joke. When I first saw it, but then it said per Schefter or whatever.
Do you think they ever paid for him though? 5 could be 8.
It is 5 worth up to 8, depending on how much you paid, incentives and all that. I mean,
is $5 million a lot for a backup quarterback? I don't even know.
Not in a team that does value a backup quarterback who won their first Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's true.
Of the backup quarterback, but what it does it does telegraph to me that they were so over Gardner Minshew.
Right.
I mean, if you were going to pay him $5 million, you might as well have paid him $3.5 million. But obviously, you just didn't think
Style
Gardner.
play, I think, though. I think Mariota brings an extra.
He's a better player.
Boost.
I think he's a better player, and I think,
yeah.
and you don't have to change the offense too much for Mariota than you would have to do Minshew.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at that offense from the Falcons last year with Mariota, I mean, I think he ran more than he threw. Like, I don't know if they didn't like his arm or they didn't trust his arm, whatever. But he was a much mobile quarterback than a pocket passer.
Mm-hmm. And when one of the guys with the best name signed a 1-year deal, Greedy Williams.
Love it.
What was the year? Did you see the money on that?
Oh, I didn't see the money. I was
Google searching it, but I didn't see anything about. And I looked on Sport Track and all that stuff.
A lot of times when I see the numbers, it's from Rappaport or Adam Schefter.
Yeah.
And I think these little like vet deals. I don't think that they really care about that, so they don't post them.
Yeah.
So that's why I didn't see it, and I didn't obviously, like you're saying, it's not anywhere else to be seen.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But
I wanted Greedy Williams to sign here if Bradbury wasn't coming back.
Sure.
So I mean, the fact that they got him as depth, my God.
We talked about it a little bit, but Justin Evans, of course, he was with Tampa Bay, then with the Saints, now he's with us. He missed 2019, 21, and 2019, 2020, and 2021.
It's weird that you missed 3 seasons with an ACL.
So I talked to a doctor about it once it all went down, and as you know, I work with doctors, and I said it's a nerve injury in the ACL. It wasn't just like a typical ACL tear, but it was a lingering nerve injury, which made it hard for him to do anything. So he goes, it's a very rare type of ACL injury. I forget what it was. A weird nerve. I'll have to look it up. He told me, and I forgot I didn't have my pad on me. I didn't write it down. Because of the G, I think. But it's a little bit of a rare injury to somebody to have. But he played 92 snaps in 2018 before he missed those 2-3 years, and then he played 39 snaps last year for the Saints. I think it's all uphill for him as long as the health is not an issue, with him. Like, I really think you're going to get a premier top end. Maybe that's the best in the league, but top end quarterback.
With Justin Evans and Nicholas Morrow, they're both 27. They're both low risk, high reward. And some people may say that, you say that, it means that the player stinks. I don't think that's the case at all. I mean, we've seen this happen a lot. The Eagles bring in these 1-year deals and they come in here and they flourish. I mean, look at the 2017 with Patrick Robinson and some of these other key guys. Anthony Harris was a guy who wasn't doing anything, and then he came in here and he played well. So I mean, I look at these guys as high ceiling, fingers crossed type of guys. If they can, get on the field and prove themselves. 27 years old, I think it shows that Haley is just really taking the youth movement to heart and not signing these older players. Not to say that Marcus Epps or PJ Edwards are, old at all. I'm just saying I think that instead of giving these vets, the money to come in here and play on 1-year deals, he's giving younger players the opportunity to come in here and play on 1-year deals and, hopefully get an extension.
So without any direct information about his injury, the guy I talked to possible femoral nerve injury, which is the nerve that goes up the knee through the thigh, which causes thigh pain, back pain. So it's kind of more than just the ACL. But yeah, it's an odd injury. But yeah, I think it's, and then you already touched on this, but we'll talk about it one more time. It's Nicholas Morrow, who was that swap pretty much for TJ Edwards. Once again, a guy with a great story, walk on. I think he just screams even better straight than TJ Edwards.
Yeah, got good size.
One guy that I know you want and that I would like, I just don't see them. I don't know if it's going to Kevin Byard.
Yeah.
He's a Philly native, safety. Titans want him to take a pay cut. He ain't willing to take no pay cut. But he is right now. I looked at his contract. He is this year, next year. He's on the books to make $13.6 million with a cap hit of 19.6 this year and 17.8 next year. And he doesn't want to take a hit. I mean, listen,
can't blame him.
Howie has his ways. He knows what he's doing.
Well, if Haley's going to overpay for somebody, it should be him.
Okay.
I mean,
I was going to ask you a question.
Oh, yeah.
That was my next. You literally walked into my next question.
Yeah, I mean, he is an upgrade from C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Mhm.
He is really you might say he's the best safety in the league, and the Eagles have a way of getting these things done. Like it might take that number 30 if you have to trade for him, and I think that is an okay thing to do.
Real quick before I ask you my next question, PhillySportsTrips.com is the place to be. You want to go to the game, be like, I want to go somewhere different. I want to watch it somewhere else. Guess what? You can go to Yankees and watch the Phillies take on the you go to New York and watch the Phillies take on the Yankees. You can head out to KC for the draft. You can go to Denver to watch the Phillies play Colorado, or at the same time watch the Union take on the Denver affiliate out there, or head over across the pond to London or Leeds. I know they have a Union trip coming up. For $189, Joe can get you to Citi Field for a Union game. That's the food, the booze, the ride, the whole experience. You can't beat that. You can spend more just parking in some areas in Philadelphia.
I had so much fun when we went out there. I don't even remember it.
Literally. And there's a lot of trips coming up this summer. I know Wrigley Field's back on. I know they're doing one out to Pittsburgh, which I might go out to Pittsburgh for that week. I haven't decided yet.
Beautiful out there.
And you got to go to PhillySportsTrips.com. They have different accommodations, fit different budgets. Tell them that EoP sent you, PhillySportsTrips.com. So, Joe,
yes.
My question then, I almost forgot.
To bring up Kevin Byard real quick.
That's what I wanted to
When I say overpay, and he's on the books right now for $13 million, if you look at Jesse Bates's at $16 million, you're still not even paying top dollar for that position.
Sure.
And of course,
top is the dollars.
Exactly. You bring him in for 13. Haley will do something.
Give him a big signing bonus.
He's going to do something to get that number down.
Yeah.
I mean, he might give the 8, the 8 that he could have gone to CJ as a base salary, and then give the other 5 as a bonus. That's your 13. I mean, he has ways of doing this.
2-part question: does his age play a factor in this for you? Number one.
Not for me.
No, for Howie. I mean,
for Howie,
for them to pick him up.
Possibly. But the only reason I would say that it's not is because I don't see Howie going into the draft and saying, I'm getting Brian Branch, at number 10.
Okay.
I don't think that they're going to spend big on a safety in the draft. So why not do it in free agency and then use the draft for other, the formula, the trenches. So I don't think that age should be something that Howie worries about when it comes to that.
Next question. All the money that they have, are you a little surprised how much money they spent to this point, though?
Not really. I mean,
and the reason I ask that question is, do you think this affects the Jalen Hurts contract sign? Like, if they sign something now, maybe it doesn't start till next year. Or give them a little,
if it's an
extension,
it's an extension. It doesn't start till next year, regardless.
Maybe give him a little signing bonus.
Yeah,
so feel special.
He's playing on that 4-year or that 4th-year rookie contract number.
But I'm saying, you don't think it delays it in any which way?
I don't think so. I think that they've already had preliminary talks. I don't think anything. I don't think Howie would have spent this money if it was going to affect Jalen Hurts' extension.
Sure.
I think he's smarter than that. It's Jalen Hurts. He took it to the Super Bowl. He is the number 1 position of a football team. You're not going to do anything that's going to harm your chances of extending your guy for the next 5, 6, 7 years. You know what I mean? So no matter what, I think he has a number set aside of what they can spend, next year, because he knows that it's not going on the books right now. That's why I think that they haven't even done it yet. Because
do you think they have it kind of like they already have semi-agreement?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
I absolutely.
You think they're just he's like, let me do my work. We're going to announce this after sometime between now and the draft.
Well, yeah, because, and I think Jalen understands this, is number one, you have to spend money to keep the guys around you to be a good football team and get back to the Super Bowl of where you were last year.
Well, and apparently he did talk to Tom Brady about that. Apparently he had a phone conversation. I did not know that. Apparently he had a phone conversation with Tom Brady and
that's beautiful.
Picked his brain.
Beautiful. I'm still on the ledge of him not even taking a big contract. I think because of how much overturn there is with QB salaries, I think if he took a deal for 3 years, I think he's looking for another big payday in year 4.
Well, he takes a risk of injury, but yeah, sure. But he also takes a chance of making a lot more money.
Right. He's betting on himself. And all he wants to do is win. And that's all he talks about. He wants to get back to the Super Bowl. He wants to win the Super Bowl. All he wants to do is win. He understands that it takes money to build a roster for success. And I do think that they have had discussions, preliminary discussions, and he knows that it's going to come this offseason. So that's why. And he's.
Do you think it's before the draft, after the draft, before
I
June 1st? I
think it's going to be in the summer.
You think after the June 1st cuts?
Yeah, I do. Okay. I think it's going to be in June or July.
That's why I thought maybe they might see if they can make a move for the June 1st cuts before they announce the signing.
Well, that's the thing. Like, with Darius Slay, if you put that post June 1st on him, you can't do anything with that $17 million that you would have saved from his releasing until June 1st. Mm-hmm. So even though you have the money, you can't do anything with it until that post June 1st.
He could trade, but.
Exactly. So I think that could be another reason.
Let me ask you a question. Because I always get confused about this. So they put the June 1st moniker on somebody. If they find a team to sign with,
right? Does
that June 1st thing, they still can't use that money then, or can they?
Because it's still a contract. Then.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Fuji wants to know, how about Winfield of Tampa Bay?
Would I take him? The safety?
Yeah. Is there an option for him? Is he?
I don't know.
I don't know anything about. We'll have to look into that. Fuji, give me some information. Is his contract up? Are they trying to trade him? Let me know. So he said there's been some of those classic social media eyes. Because Bijan Robinson had took a little snapper. I don't know, it was an Instagram picture of the link at nighttime. That means he was here in the city of Philadelphia.
Well, he was.
Yeah.
He was here.
So of course you get that. What's it? The 30. They get
30. The pre-draft visits.
Yeah. So is this a smokescreen, Joe? Do you think there's any chance that he's available at either? Probably available at 10, but maybe even available at 30.
I don't see any chance of him being available at 30.
What do you think in your eyes? Like, what's the deepest he goes?
I think.
Is he that? Is that
where's
in
Dallas?
your eyes?
Where's Dallas drafting?
26.
Dallas is going to draft him.
You think?
If he makes it, if he doesn't get drafted, he makes
with
it.
All the D's they need. You think
they're gonna draft him. But we saw them take Ezekiel Elliott with the number 4 pick or whatever, however many years ago. They're not above taking a running back in the first round. They just released Ezekiel Elliott. They got Tony Pollard on the franchise tag. If they can draft, and he's a Texas Longhorn. Of course Dallas is going to draft him if he makes it there.
26.
There you go. He's getting drafted. If he's not drafted,
the Giants are right before them. You think they're crazy enough to do it?
No,
they're crazy
got Saquon. If he makes it to 26, there's no doubt in my mind he is a Dallas Cowboy.
Yeah.
Makes too much sense for them.
I'm trying to think of anybody else who would take him before. Seattle? Anybody with 2 picks besides us in the first round?
If the Eagles really want to get saucy and they want to shock the world, they're going to trade back to about 16, 17, 18, and they're going to draft them. And they're going to pick up some more draft capital.
Do you think,
and they're going to make
think the Eagles buck the trend and take a running back or even a linebacker in the first round?
My honest opinion?
Yes.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Is it my point? Like, I would love to have Bijan Robinson.
So you're telling me I could move back, get Bijan, and have an extra piece of draft capital in the process? Joe, if he does that, let's play devil's advocate for a minute. Mm-hmm. Eagles are sitting at number 10 right now. Say they draft back and they say Green Bay. Mm-hmm. They're at 15. It'd be anywhere between Green Bay, Washington, Pittsburgh, and Detroit for that 15 to 18 spot. I don't see any of those guys taking Bijan, but I could be wrong.
Washington will always take defense in first.
Yeah. So
Packers,
So say they switch with the Packers, they're at 15, and they're able to get, I don't know, maybe a second round pick from them or a third round, third round.
Back 5, I think you're getting at least the third round pick.
In the first round, I think they take a second round. Unless you really want to do it. And they take Bijan, and they add a third round pick. Are you excited at the moment, but kind of upset they could have probably taken a better defensive player that they're going to need? Because here's my thing is, it's about the future too. Like,
of course,
you got a lot of guys on 1-year contracts. We're going to be doing the same conversation at the end of this coming year. You got a lot of guys. I mean, you're going to have Kelsey possibly finally done, Brandon Graham finally done, Fletcher Cox finally done. You got a lot of other guys who are going to be off the one-year contracts. A lot of the guys they just signed so far. Greedy Williams.
Which also helps
Justin Evans, Burrows. I mean, you got a lot of guys on 1 year. So it's like, do you do that? Or do you think they stay tried and true? Or do you, Joe? You're Joe. You're making the decision. Or do you stay tried and true and you can still move back and get an extra draft pick, maybe get either a defensive lineman or even an offensive lineman, maybe later in the first round.
I want to.
I do love Paris Johnson. I do have to.
I know.
I know. I hate who he played for, but I loved him as a player.
I like Skoronski though. Like
I do too, dude.
But I can't. If they're and Andre Dillard, he was supposed to be their starting left tackle. Obviously, didn't pan out. They had to go. They had to flip the script. You're not going to draft, in my opinion, Campbell or Skoronski, and then redshirt them for another year. Like I know they did with Cam Jurgens, but it was a second-round pick. Your first-round picks you need to now. They need to be starting year one. I don't see them doing that with the offensive line, especially knowing that they can get offensive line help in the second, third round and trade back and blah, blah, blah. So I would be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if they went offensive line. I'd be shocked if they went running back. I don't see them doing it. I really don't think they're going to do it. I think it's it's a little bit of a head scratcher why they would bring them in for a visit, knowing that they're just not going to do it in the first round. And they have to know and believe that he is good enough to be drafted in that first round somewhere. So you're not going to expect him to make it to the second round. There's no way. I don't expect him to make it to 30. Like I just said, if he's there at 26 when Dallas is drafting, he's going to be a Cowboy.
I don't want him to be a Cowboy.
I don't want him to be a Cowboy.
Too many running backs I love to become Cowboys.
If the Eagles
pisses me off.
Like imagine this. If the Eagles drop back from like 10 to say 18 and they pick up another first round for next year, and then you still get Bijan Robinson out of it. You get a first round and BJ Robinson for your 10 number pick, and you have a pick at number 30. Yeah, I'm taking Bijan Robinson all day because you have to know. You have to look at this from one point of view: is we don't know about their defense next season. A new defensive coordinator, like we said, they've lost some guys. They're going to be playing and hoping this Greedy Williams, Nick Morrow, who the hell is the other one? Justin Evans. Where they're going to hope that these guys can make an impact on the field. So at least I think that they have to go into next season thinking they have to just score more points. They know the defense may struggle to begin with. They need to outscore the opponent. And when you have Jalen Hurts, you have Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, A.J. Brown, and you can put a talent in that backfield like B.J. Robinson, I mean, you're putting your offense on a whole new level. And you also, if you want to take the running plays away from Jalen Hurts, listen, he had the shoulder injury this year because it was on a designed running play. You have to take that factor out. You have B.J. Robinson. That is going to be who your bell cow is. The problem is the Eagles don't look at, and I said it earlier in the show, the Eagles don't look at their backfield as one dominant back, a feature back, say, Rashad Penny. I'm saying he's going to be healthy because they use Kenny Gainwell and Boston Scott. You bring a Bijan Robinson in here, that you buck the system with that. He is your lead guy. That is who you're depending to get those, between the tackle yardage. I mean, you don't have to worry about any of the other three. You don't have to worry about Jalen Hurts taking those shots. B.J. Robinson is the guy at that point.
Metal Maniac is saying Cowboys actually like Gibbs from Alabama better than Bijan. That'd be interesting.
I can see that.
I said Dallas signed Ronald, I guess that's Jones yesterday. Fuji believes Howie is making a defensive end or defensive tackle, possibly an lineman. I mean, that would be tried and true.
Absolutely.
Ronald Jones is just a camp sign. Yeah, I mean, I don't see how you can compare Jones to Bijan Robinson, but I don't think that means anything. I mean, look at the Eagles have signed 3 running backs right now, and they could still bring him in, and then you either trade or just let one go,
I mean, Rashad Penny is making so little money. I mean, is there a possibility that he gets cut?
Oh, absolutely.
Like anything can happen.
Look at how much they signed. I mean, his guarantee, 600?
Something like that.
Something like that. I mean, what did they guarantee the quarterback from Las Vegas last year?
Oh,
What's his name? They didn't draft him.
the Eagles?
The Eagles did, yeah. The quarterback from it was from the college in Vegas.
Jesus. Yeah, from Nevada, Carson Strong.
Carson Strong. I don't know why I completely blanked out on it, but I mean,
Because it's Carson Strong.
Yeah. Because life blanked out on
Nevada,
him.
yeah.
But I mean, there's a guy that I think they paid him what $400,000, $500,000.
Yeah, he was the highest undrafted free agent signee in all the league.
Yeah, and they cut him.
Yeah.
So he made $500,000.
What about? I mean, when it comes to linebackers, what about Patrick Robinson? What about Kyron Johnson, who they drafted in the 5th round last year? Like where are these guys? Davion Taylor. Like where are these guys? Why can't these guys step up and get a chance at linebacker? Like, I don't think the Eagles have to go out. Like, they just signed Nicholas Morrow. Like, they don't have to go out and make a big splash at the linebacker position. Like, they have guys that can possibly step up. And if they can't step up, if they're not viewed as guys who can step up, why are they here? Why keep them on a practice squad if you don't think that eventually they could take that next step and be on the field? Kyron Johnson, like this guy, I think he went to Kansas. I mean, this guy was, really looked at as a possibility to be a good linebacker. And I have not even – I'm surprised that I even remember his name right now, how little I've heard of his name.
Sure. I mean, $320,000 they gave him and cut him still. And that was even – if you remember with Carson Strong, because you always have to say that because people think you're talking about another Carson. I mean, he didn't even get a lot of time. Like, it's almost like there was something about him they didn't like.
Right.
Like, and obviously, I don't think.
I remember what the hell is it? Clayton Thorson.
Yeah,
something like that from Northwestern. They drafted him in like the 5th round, and then he got cut like during OTAs.
Yep. And he went to Dallas.
And then
he got cut again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he made it past first couple of weeks.
He's not in the league.
And there's Carson, right? Strong. Is the other Carson? Did anybody pick him up yet?
Wentz, no.
No, so he could be out of the league.
Yeah.
He could be the USFL this year.
I was gonna say XFL, but
they're almost done.
That's already going.
All right, guys. So that's about it. But real quick, I want to run through a couple of Phillies points here.
They're awesome. They basically carry Team USA. Let me say something about Team USA real quick.
Yeah,
number one, congratulations on going to the finals. This was the most USA baseball I've ever watched in my life.
Dude,
for whatever
this
reason,
is the most non-major league team sport that I've watched.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, I haven't really been paying too much NCAA tournament basketball. Like I haven't.
Yeah, my wife is big into that. I haven't really been paying much attention to it.
Joe, me and you used to watch it religiously, especially like high school and the later years. But like, it's just too much time. It's during the day.
Right.
I get zero time to pay attention. I don't fill out a bracket anymore. And like most people would have been destroyed anyway.
I know. But yeah, USA baseball. Listen, Trey Turner at $300 million for however many years. I want to say 12 years we signed him, 10 years, whatever it was, is a steal. This guy took over the World Baseball Classic. We are deeming him Captain America. There is now a new Captain America, and his name is Trey Turner. And the fact that
The
fact that he is a Philly is so damn exciting. I don't think that we even really understood the signing of this guy.
I really do think that was underwhelming.
It wasn't, championed enough. And now you see this guy. He is the guy.
Joe's reading my notes.
He wants that moment. And he hit, 5 home runs in his last 7 at-bats or whatever it was.
In 7 at-bats, he had 4 home runs, including the Grand Slam.
JT played great. Kyle Schwarber had a big home run last night.
First time in his career to have 3 home runs.
Yeah.
A home run in 3 straight games.
Right.
And he had the most home runs, 5, than any other USA baseball player in the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah.
I mean,
the Phillies themselves, our 3 players, carried.
They pick it off as a center going, excellent.
Oh, my God.
The center like, yes.
The fact that Bryce Harper, we got to bring Bryce Harper up, too. The fact that Bryce Harper is out for X amount of time, and they bring in Trey Turner, who can either duplicate the production that Harper does or exceed it. The fact that they went out and got him. Let me put it like this. The Phillies were 2 games away from winning a World Series, correct?
Mm-hmm.
the Phillies ended the season last year in third place. This offseason, Dombrowski, Middleton, they did not go out there and say, hey, we were 2 games away from winning a World Series. They did not.
Which most places would have.
Right. They went out and they said, we were a third-place team in our division. There were 2 teams above us. We're third place. We're going out. We're spending the money, and we're going to try and put together the best lineup to ever play the game. And that's exactly what they're out there doing. I mean, Trey Turner, the bullpen that they're putting together, Taijuan Walker, like they went out, they're like third place team, not acceptable with us. We're going for the pennant or the division and then the pennant, and that's the bottom line. And they bring Trey Turner in. My God, how exciting is this?
One thing before we move on from the World Baseball Classic, I have to point out, and I don't think anybody underestimates him, but I think sometimes it does fly under the radar, maybe because it's on the West Coast. Shohei Ohtani, man. All I have to say is there's a very minimal chance that he's ever a Philly.
Right.
He better not be in any other part of our division.
No.
Here's your numbers, Joe, from the World Baseball Classic. This is his batting. He slashed a 435, 606 with a 739. Batted a 435, Joe. Okay? He pitched a 186. He had a 1.86 ERA with 9 2/3 innings.
Yep.
And we saw the nasty shit he threw down. There goes my tip jar. He threw at his own teammate, might I add.
Yeah.
It's going to be an awkward locker room.
That.
And by the way, your post the other day, classic.
Yeah.
That thing flew off the shelf like it was going out. Everybody's seen the. I'll pull it up, guys. Keep going, Joe.
The fact that moment came down to Ohtani and Mike Trout. I'm sitting there salivating, going, just get Trout up. Ohtani's out there. These guys are teammates. This is the moment that everybody
couldn't write the script better.
Right. This is a movie. This is a movie script. Like this is what everybody wanted to see. And I'm telling you, I did not take it for granted. I'm sitting there. I'm waiting for Trout to bang a home run, and it would have been just the greatest walk-off champions. Team USA. But Ohtani goes out there and actually absolutely puts on a smoke show. I mean, I think they said that Mike Trout in his entire career has only had a 3 strikeout 24 times.
Yeah.
24 times in his entire career.
Yeah.
He's swung the bat 3 times for a strikeout.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them was last night now against his own teammate, Ohtani. I mean, the guy is unbelievable.
Remember I did a video where there's like a very small possibility that Trout is a Philly because when they sign him and if the Angels want to keep him, I mean, they said like he's making $500 million easily. Like his contract's $500 million. Here's what I was talking about. This is on Edge of Philly Sports on Facebook, on our Twitter at EoPSports.com, as well as our YouTube page and everything else you see our post on. And it's spot on, dude. That was spot on. It had me laughing because you see that one all the time, but sometimes these things get played out. But it isn't true. Like you have a team who has both these players on it who are just dominating players in this game, and when that team can't even make the playoffs. It's sad. Like I'll be honest, not a strong division, might I add?
No, not at all. Me watching Mike Trout in the World Baseball Classic. One of the reasons I watched so much of it was because of Mike Trout. I mean, we don't always, unless the Angels are playing the Phillies, we don't get to watch them that often. And I want to see him play in games that matter in competitive baseball. And what this was that. And now this tournament is probably the most meaningful baseball he's ever going to play again in his career. And he hasn't been to the postseason in 9 years. And I think he's not going to go back.
I think the World Baseball Classic has kind of, with this year, guys like me who usually don't watch other stuff outside of the major league stuff, really get into it. Look like must-watch TV type stuff. Mm-hmm. And then Ian put up a good point. I had this written down, but he put up Japan had 97.4% of the population watching the WBC. Oh my God. Almost 100% of Japan's television set was watching the WBC.
Good on that, man. That's really cool.
And that's the thing is I think America has most to lose in this situation because, listen, MLB is king. Right. So, like, most people are like, these guys are like, we got to knock them down a peg. And Japan's got some crazy great players.
Oh, yeah.
You would think we'd be picking that more. And I know they have some weird contracts out there. Mm-hmm. They sound like 47-year contracts. But these guys they're like 70. But it is insane. And thank you for pointing that out. But couple pieces of news here. We'll start with the good. This is not the bad news, but whatever. Not so good news. But Rangers having more swelling.
Yeah.
So the swelling came back. They did an MRI. It's no structural damage, which was a good thing. So they said he was going to rest a few days, but there's a chance he won't be here opening day. And we could see Matt Strom as number 5 in the pitching rotation. But I mean, I it's the one question: is this going to keep flaring back up?
So all right. So if Strom has to be 5, does that mean Bailey Falk moves up to 4?
I guess. I really would like to see that. And
going to be Painter.
And we're going to get to the other big news in a second. Well, not big news, but interesting news. Let's jump into that first before you. So Dombrowski was in an interview on WIP. Was it today? Yesterday.
Yeah.
And they are not. I repeat, they are not putting Bryce Harper on the 60-day IL.
That's a good graphic.
Beginning season. It's an amazing graphic. Which is very interesting because that means 60 days with May, right? May 28th,
May 29th.
29th. So, I mean, none of us really expect to be hitting much before that at all.
I mean, he's taking swings and balls off a tee.
Yeah.
I know that was before scheduled. So.
I'm still a little shocked, but the fact that they have this very high optimistic thing that, I would imagine if you don't think it's going to be more than 2 weeks, before that, you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
You'll just take the 2 weeks and roll with it, especially with the team that you have around him without him. But very optimistic, very good news, very interesting. Other interesting pieces of small news that maybe want to slip through the cracks with that going on. Is Scott Kingery making a comeback? Is he going to make the 40-man roster?
So I don't think he will, because
or is he going to be trade bait?
Well, I think he should be trade bait. What I'm hearing is, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't really paid much attention to Scott Kingery's stats. I know he's been playing well, but I haven't been. Sure.
Scott Kingery is batting a .359 this spring. So,
from what I've heard is the year that they gave him that 6-year contract. This is similar to what he did in the minor in spring training. So they thought he was the next up and coming. So they saw that, they saw the stats in spring training. They gave him the contract. Of course, he then fell off a cliff. He's doing it again right now, which is a great story. He's not going to make the roster because they have so many people that should make this. Like Jake Cave.
I was just going to say
Jake Cave is almost pushing to be the starting center fielder over Brandon Marsh.
Or 25.
Yeah. He's playing out of his mind. Amundo Sosa, he's already locked in.
Dude, I think somebody's been working out, man. He's got some power behind that bat.
I know. Josh Harrison, he's going to make it. And then that leaves one other spot, and that could be a Cody Clemens.
Mm-hmm.
It could be Scott Kingery, but I highly doubt that.
Yeah. My thing is, let me ask you a question. Do you think Amundo's like, I missed that home run in the World Series by
I know I am.
dental floss.
I know I'm saying that.
And they're like, I'm going to hit the gym and I'm going to get stronger. So that does not happen again. I mean, that's a big home. That would have been a giant home run, too.
That probably would have been a game-swinging home run.
That probably would have been, all right, we're forcing a game set.
Yeah.
Most likely. The Phillies, again, which confuses me, you got Jake Cave, we just talked about. Even Scott Kingery playing well. They still aren't sold on the outfield yet. They added another piece. Not a big name, young guy. He hasn't even played in the majors yet. But Jordan Cusar, I don't know how you say it right. Tampa Bay's AAA affiliate. He played AA last year. He batted .234 down there with 13 home runs, with 319 plate appearances. What is it? I mean, it's not
I think this is just Dombrowski being Dombrowski because even
just stacking the pond.
Absolutely, because no matter what, you still have to build your farm system. So if this guy doesn't make the 40, he can still play in the minors. I mean, this is just keeping your talent pool above float, and I think he is absolutely nailing it.
Well, I mean, that's the thing is like one of the complaints we had when he first got here. Here's a guy who likes to take the young guys, dish them out, get some proven commodities in here, and then we're going to have nothing. We'll have a depleted farm system. But our farm system was a big piece of a reason we had a run last year, and they're stocking the pond.
I mean, look at this bullpen. I mean, a Junior Marte that they got from the Giants. This guy's been lights out.
Yeah.
And nobody's like when you compare that name to Kimbrel and all these other guys that they have for the bullpen. I mean, Dombrowski has an eye for talent. That's what it comes down
100%
to.
why they brought him in.
Yeah, that's what he's been. I think this is his third or fourth. It's definitely his third. I don't know, fourth organization that he's been with, where he has put together a team and has sent them to the World Series. He's already done it with the Phillies. He's already put together a roster that got him to the World Series.
I guess when you have a guy like Bryce Harper, it makes
year two, right?
Yep.
And now here we are, and he's just doing it every off season. This guy's basically a godsend. This guy has turned around the entire organization.
Oh, one last piece of news. I got to say hi to him. That was cool when I was in spring training.
Yeah, nice.
Mark Appel.
Yeah.
It's first round pick. What was it? 2017, something like that.
Did you see his Twitter? Mm-hmm. It was really weird. He put on Twitter that the season was starting and this is probably going to be his last season. Mm-hmm. Retire.
Yeah.
Hours later, the Phillies call him in and cut him.
Yeah.
So now he's on Twitter and he's putting something out tomorrow, a long announcement or something. Mm-hmm. And he was previewing it on Twitter and he's saying how much of a storyteller he likes. I don't know what the hell's going on. When you get a chance, go check it out. His Twitter.
But he pitched a couple games for us last year and had a good outing a couple times he was out there, but not in the spring. I mean, he was pitching an 11.12 ERA.
Yeah,
only in 6 appearances, 6 walks, and allowed 3 home runs. And Topper said, "Listen, man, he's not making the team, and we really just don't have a spot for him."
Well, he on his Twitter, he starts going into it oh, okay, somebody came up to me and said, "Oh, hey, Topper wants to see it." And usually this guy is chipper and he's smiling when I see him, but he had a somber look on his face, and it's he's detailing his release. Yeah,
is he one of those where they tweet 300 word, whatever it is?
It was a whole thread.
God, I hate that. I hate that on Facebook.
It was a 10-post thread. So I can't even imagine.
Write a blog, bro.
This is coming.
Write a blog, bro.
Yeah. He has his own website, markable.com.
Mark Appel.
Markappel.com.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he has all these
able thing.
Let's see what the website looks like.
All right, go ahead. I'll pull that up. Give me 1 second here. To Mark Appel.
Sixers up 107-84 over the Bulls, fourth quarter, 4:25 left. Where the hell was this performance the other night?
They were tired, dude. You can see they were they had stone feet. They weren't moving. Let's see what I got here. Share screen. Oh, he literally is. You see it? Is it up there?
Yeah, there it is.
Hold on. I'll make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, that's what I can do.
Yeah.
To get the journal. Hi, I'm Mark Appel. This dude likes to write.
He does.
Oh my God, that's all it is. It's subscribe to the journal.
Oh yeah. That was one of the things. It was, if you want to be one of X amount of people to get my story tomorrow, here's the link. Go and sign up.
So you figured, I'm not going to have to make money somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. But good luck to you, Mark. But it's just not your.
Yeah.
It's not you. Just tough luck. But that kind of brings us to the end of the show. We had a nice little extra long show for you guys, hour and a half. It was worth it. Me and Joe have not been together, so I've played a lot of catch up with you.
It felt weird, man.
There's plenty of EoP to go around. Make sure you sign up for the new EoP page. I mean, some people are already subscribed to the page. I'll put some links out over the week here. Just make sure you subscribe to the newest official Edge Philly YouTube page. This is what you're looking at right now, but this is just the live show lineups. There has been plenty of draft coverage of each individual, of certain players, of certain positions, you name it. There's been new content 4 or 5 times a day, not including the amazing work Joe does, putting out our Facebook, Twitter stuff all the time, plus everything else. We have more content here at EoP than I could almost say almost anywhere else. We are pumping it out. Great articles, great stuff. Check out EOPsports.com. Doing a lot of updates there. Guys, we enjoyed having you tonight. I want to thank our great sponsors, starting with Sherry'sTickets.com. Don't get bamboozled. Get the best price you can get at Sherry'sTickets.com and get 10% off using the EOP10 promo code. And speaking of don't get bamboozled, you need a good lawyer. You got one. David R. Cherry's your man, 610-565-0300 or cherryinjurylaw.com. get hurt at work in a motor vehicle accident, personal injury, criminal law, Dave is the man. Tell him that EoP sent you, as well as for PhillySportsTrips.com. That's right, PhillySportsTrips.com. If you don't want to go locally, you want to get out, you want to jet set, you want to do a thing, you want to go cheer on your team in another town, another city, another country, for the love of God, you can do that at PhillySportsTrips.com. Go check it out. There is so many trips. I could sit here all night and name them, but go check it out yourself and tell them EoP sent you as well. Other than that, I'm Big Al.
And I'm Joey Sheeran.
And we out.
There's one thing I want you to do for me.
What?
Come here.